So hello everyone, welcome to my review of Ballroom episode 22. A really good episode. I find it a really good episode. It's like 10 out of 10. Yeah, it's a very good, very strong episode. Because they had both a flashback right with Kugimaya. You see his backstory behind he was a child, following his cat, and that led into the dance store and all that. And it also had the whole like progressive thing with Shinatsu and Tatara that met together. Whole spreading it. Oh, he's a mimicking guy adapting into his lady, and it's like that's why he can be so good. That's a very good episode. I think I had both of that thing. So that, but that being said, though, it's definitely a very like split episode, right? Like a typical clear, shonen flashback storyline and one like dance, sports storyline, right? So very much two different episodes, or like two different parts, right? very two different parts. But so anyways, let's start the first part there with Kugimaya. I think it's I don't know, I was supposed to feel sorry for him. He's somewhat, I liked the smiley a lot, and he was like, oh, a car, nice. I love that, and he was like, oh, I'm gonna hit now, that's good. Because in one way, you really see that scene, it's depressing, and you definitely feel empathizing with it. But at the same time, he's very much of a coward, right? It's like, he doesn't want to quit the dance, even though he knows that he can't become better dancing with industrial sensei and so on, and the whole thing there, and it's like, but I can't quit because the people would make fun of me, and I don't want to. I won't let them have that. I can't do it, and people are gonna laugh at me, and they're gonna be right about me. So I'd rather just be painful. It's like, oh, a car or a truck hit me, perfect. I won't avoid it, so I don't have to make people laugh at me. It's like that's like a really bad situation that. So you'd rather get hit by a car than actually, just like get people, oh, we were right about him. It's like, I don't know, I would rather pick people laughing at me and making fun of me or whatever, or, generally giving that satisfaction. No, you could, quit that, right, by getting injured. So it's kind of like, really, man? But it's still definitely relatable. I was sort of like, you can understand it, though. He's kind of in a loop there, he's dancing, stuck in that corner there, doing this traditional dance, not really advancing it, really evolving it, where... next episode is called like tradition and evolution, and the reverse of Tatara, right? But still, it's kind of weird though. One thing, I mean, I get it that he really wants to do the traditional style. He really wants to be the textbook guy. Started teaching children when he was younger, right? It's very textbook. But it's a little weird though. He goes to Coach Marissa, looking hot as always. The MILF season, right? He goes to her again, and she's like, oh, what do you want to do? Life is always hell. Everyone, life is horrible, blah blah. Kind of motivates him, and then he still just trains with her, and she's still teaching him the basics, right? So he's like he's going there, kind of like, oh, I can't evolve, I'm just doing the basics, and she teaches him the basics. It feels like, I don't know, I'm just kind of like, I don't know what she really worked with him, to be honest. I was saying it's a plot hole, but it's a little weird, like what actually did she teach him? Except, I guess, just like, how to say it, like perfecting his base skill, right? Like perfecting the basic steps of the what so on. What did she already teach him? Because isn't he doing the exact same thing with her as with his old, mentor sensei, isn't she just improving the same thing with him? Couldn't he improve it by himself, so to speak? By the textbook, reading a textbook? Yeah, I don't know. So that I unfortunately would say was a little issue there in the flashback. I wish that would be a little better explained what she is doing, right, to improve him. So it felt like a little cheap shot, or whatever you call it. It's like it's a tragic backstory, but it doesn't really explain how he actually is improving right now with her, or what she's doing with him for the last 2 years or whatever, because she's kind of like, oh, I can help you, honey. And then like 2 years later, still doing the exact same thing, just better at it. I guess she was just a better basic teacher than his old teacher, which makes, I guess she's very talented, but the older guy, he was only into the old stuff, so wasn't he the master of the old stuff, and she is actually a general master. So you always would assume the old guy would be better than her, and specifically like the textbook stuff, because that's his skill. So that to me was a little easy right in there. You used to say that, oh, he went to her and she's better, I guess, at the same stuff or something, right? Because I did like it. He's like, I just want to improve the basic stuff. I just want to improve it. I mean, he's like, no, I want to prove to my old master that his style isn't bad. Like I will stay the textbook style. So I liked the whole thing, but she didn't like really indulge into any kind of details. She was just like, life is hell, honey, but I can make it hell for you and make you better. It's like, they really indulge into how she would do it. So I wish there was a little bit of that, how he actually was, like, what was his issue earlier, or maybe he could mention that, oh, I'm trying to perfect the perfection, the classic step, but I can't do it, and whatever, right? So, it's a little weird. Kind of like that his Irugawa, his partner, had a little more story there, a little bit inside. So it's pretty bad. I think it looks way better as a character, right? When she has her hair all crazy and so on. That looks way better as a character when she's not in in her like dressed up suit and so on. I would say so at least. But anyway, yeah, the fact was pretty cute. It's more of those like his brothers were, perfect students, and his father was like, oh, he sucks, he can't do it correctly, and so on. Like, I was kind of like that felt like, yeah, I don't know. Like, yeah, you feel sorry for him, but it didn't really matter so much. You kind of assume that everyone's a bad life. It's anime, everyone's a bad backstory, you know. you kind of assume that. It's kind of like, of course his parents, and then of course his teacher was like, oh, he's absent-minded. We can't teach him. He's a bad student. Of course he was bad at everything except dancing, and he couldn't perfect it. One thing though, what I think is interesting with him is that it's kind of like everything is so dark with him, right? It's like, I don't see people. It's like, this Sengoku guy is appearing my dance floor. So it's kind of weird, like how it ends with his backstory when he's like, I wanna dance and people should not look at me. It's like, what? That's kind of like the point. But at the same time, it's like, no, they should look at me. You know, it's kind of weird, confusing there. So kind of self-hatred and also hatred for the people, kind of nihilistic hate, I guess. It's a little weird. So because of that also, you kind of feel sympathy for him, but he also gets into being at least like a minor bad guy, right? Because he's like, his view on life is much like, life is bad. Like, so you kind of get that feel for him, and you don't really care about if he fails or not, I guess. I wouldn't say so at least because he's kind of like an unmotivated guy. He's motivated, but doesn't really motivate you to do anything. It's kind of like, whatever, life sucks. So yeah, he kind of gets off as a bad character, right, regardless, I think. Or kind of, I don't know, indifferent towards. Yeah, it's like either he's neutral or a bad person, right? But I wasn't a bad person, but I mean, in an anime sense, obviously he's the antagonist. But he kind of gets the kind of, his level is kind of like, I just want to beat everyone because they all are disgusting. So that kind of level of it. So he doesn't look like a good person, right? But he's not a bad person either. He's more like he's a depressed character again. Not depressed. He had depression, but current state, he's more like, he's kind of like, oh, whatever, I hate life, but I'm going to be the best at it. Yeah, it's a little weird to kind of identify his traits, I would say. Makes you become perplexed by him, I suppose. But anyway, let's talk about the second part then. Second part, the coach is pretty dancing, right? Red skirt here, right? Chi-chan. Gotta love it. I love the whole thing that the whole is playing very carefully. It's like, well, Mark, you said he was the best partner for you. He's like, yeah, gentle Tatara. Then there's Chi-chan. It's like, that's not Tatara, I love you. Yeah, it's like, that's not the man I danced with. He's not my man anymore. And it's very clearly she interpreted that, like, yeah, he is now dancing as she's someone, right? She's dancing for her. And she is very, she's very aggressive. She's very high tempo, temperament dancer. And he's also having to do that. So he was like, yeah, that's his skill. He's an adaptive leader. He leads by becoming what the lady wants him to be, and then they can be really good at it. And then they can synchronize because he's like adapting to her. She's open the door. She is in this like zone of like, very, very like temperament, very fast dancing, and they're like, yeah, they can really do it now. So I think that was great. It was a very interesting part of that whole thing there. Oh, and I think it was also good with Suzuka's face, like, Shinatsu-san, she's this good? Pfft, I can beat her, probably. Yeah, see her be kind of yelling here. It's like, but that's like, she's not better than me. And Maka was like, he took my man. So you see now, yes, both the girls, they're kind of like, this new girl is ruining my thing. And that being said, we cannot forget about Sengoku being both in their kind of image, which is part of course Kongo, and also of course we see it in Kugimaya as well. I love that. Sengoku is like, because they're all looking at them and they're like, yeah, they're like Sengoku and Shisharu now. Yeah, they're doing their dance because Sengoku's like a very flamboyant, very flashy, right? And we look at them and they see, of course, his partner as well, which is Shisha. It's like, yeah, they are doing their master, right? Because obviously Tatara's, original master, even though he betrayed him, was of course Sengoku, my favorite character, by far best character. Come on, Sengoku is like, who is Sengoku? Like, I hope he's gonna return. I look at the preview, it's like a phone call being made, And I saw a hand. There's like Son Goku like that. Son Goku's finally back for this 1 minute next episode. But I like that. A lot of references to that thing as well, right? Back with that thing. The whole weight thing too was kind of funny too. It's like, this weight is so heavy. My body's wrong. No, it's her weight. Yeah, kind of obviously, because if someone is leaning on you and you dance with them, the weight gets on you. So yeah, big surprise there that her weight is like leading you down. But overall, I really liked it. We get into yet another like power up for Tatara and Chi-chan, right? The next level of the strength. Very, very good. And I found a really good episode. But I would say the flashback has some minor plot holes. That's one in the flashback. Generally, it's like what I want her to indulge a little bit in is what she did with him, like a little bit. What did Marissa do with with him? That was weird. It was like she just improved what he already knew or something like that. But also generally like good flashback. We see him following like 10th year or 12th year of dancing, still a loser, kind of thing. So you do feel sorry for him generally, yeah. Generally do feel sorry for him, definitely. But yeah, I think it was a good episode, but it has some minor things. Maybe nitpicky, but I think there's some minor things there. And also, I would say the second part was great, but also was a little maybe bad pace, right? Not like a bad pacing, but like a little bit. It's like they did the same animation like 3 times, so they're spinning around. And yes, they were talking about that. They were doing the vaults with quick step, and that was very interesting because they're like flamboyantly making it work. They're very moving with their bodies, but at the same time, they use the same animation like 2 or 3 times in a row, so it's like, they're kind of shipping it out here now. So anyway, it was a great episode with a few little minor faults. See you guys next week and have a great day.